right, I am back with a recently bathed Evie who's all wet and sad about being post bath time here to talk about not Forza Horizon 5. I might do a video on that in the coming days here, but kind of circling back to Destiny 2, given that we are in a very weird time for it now during this middle of the season, essentially month or two long break where there is not a whole lot going on before the 30th anniversary event. And I was looking at the calendar, and I am just about to hit a full month of not playing Destiny. I think in a couple days from now, because Festival of the Lost, I think was like October 12th or something like that, and I played for a couple of days before they nerfed everything, so I was able to grind out all the rewards from that event pretty quickly there, and then stopped. And that was the last time I played, and that was almost a month ago now. And looking ahead, it does seem like I will probably not be playing for the next month either until the anniversary event on the 7th. I believe it's the 7th. So that is essentially 2 months without Destiny, which that will probably be the longest I haven't played Destiny since maybe, I don't even know, like Curse of Osiris era, because usually a season will have pretty much one solid month of dead time and then like something at the very end there. But because this is a 6 month season, Bungie has the unique challenge of trying to stretch out content over that time. So the story content finished in kind of a normal amount of time, like 8 weeks or whatever it was. But now we have this kind of big gap until the anniversary events, and then probably another gap until Season of the Lost story stuff picks up and concludes before the Witch Queen. So I want to say up front here that I think it's a perfectly fine thing to take a break from a game. During this downtime so far, I got really into New World, which is kind of fading a bit now, as you've seen some of my other videos. I did the Lost Ark beta, and now I am playing Forza, which, all of these are pretty time consuming. And I did Guardians of the Galaxy. I did a little bit of Far Cry. I've been able to kind of open up to more things rather than, only grinding Destiny or going for specific things in Destiny, and that's been fun. This is obviously a very big time of year with a lot of releases, and that is not going to change over the next month. We have Battlefield, and then unfortunately we have Halo right when the anniversary event starts, so that's not great timing. I don't know, maybe I'll get a review thing where I can review Halo earlier, maybe, or something. I don't know how that process is going to work, but we'll see. That would be ideal, but I'm not going to bank on it either. And it's gotten me thinking a lot about, kind of why I don't want to play Destiny at the moment, like when there is not anything very, very specific to do. I'm having trouble kind of setting goals in my mind of like what I would be doing if I logged in to play, other than just kind of like playing to play. Benji tweeted something yesterday that says, I want to play Destiny 2, but I don't want to play Destiny 2. Like, you get me? And that resonates with me, because like I miss playing Destiny, and yet I feel like it's one of those situations where you could log in and just sort of like stare at it and like not really know what to do. And for me, this is kind of one of those circumstances where the lack of a significantly, important or meaningful long-term grind kind of comes into effect for me, where one thing I find myself burning out on lately is the weapon roll chase. And the reason being is, there is a certain amount of, focusing in the game now for a lot of things. Some stuff still doesn't have it, like Iron Banner. So, like, I'm not going to play 5 hours of Iron Banner to get all the bounties and then turn in, hundreds of tokens to not even get, like, one peace bond or something. Like, that's too much RNG. But even with the stuff there is focusing for, even with like Nightfall drops or Umbral focusing and things like that, I'm just starting to kind of lack motivation in chasing roles that don't seem meaningfully better than what I have now. Or, if they do, like, I'm just kind of using stuff to use it, not necessarily that like it's better than what I had before. For instance, like I wanted to get, a certain roll of all these different seasonal guns, and so I spent forever trying to get a Outlaw Headstone Vulpicula, and it's a fun new perk, and like I have used that gun, I don't know, no more than a handful of times since I got it, and I just kind of find myself gravitating toward old favorites. I think this is especially true in PvP, where like you just really get a core group of weapons that you're comfortable with there and just pretty much stick with those. And in PvE, I mean, it depends on the season with the seasonal mods and things, but it almost doesn't matter for PvE in a weird way. Like raids, for the most part, are outside of maybe VOG hard mode, are like so easy that it doesn't really matter what you use. Like you can use whatever you want for clearing, and then you'll have the optimal boss DPS weapon, and that's kind of it. And then Grandmasters is the opposite, where it feels a lot way more restrictive because of the champions and like what is active at a current time, and like if you're not using a particle deconstruction fusion rifle or something, and like you're just hamstringing yourself, things like that. So it just, all of these kind of mechanisms to get myself, very similar guns to what I already have is not really motivation, and that's not what I consider a long-term grind. There are a few factors working against this, which is vault space. I do not really feel like I can spend a lot of time or spend a lot of like slots grinding for multiple rolls of guns because I don't have anywhere to put them. And if I do, or delete stuff to put in new stuff, like it feels bad because like I feel like I'm negating a past grind I did to get these other rolls of a gun that I was excited about a few seasons ago. And now I'm doing the same thing, and like it makes it feel extra futile that like I'm just deleting one thing to put in another thing. So a lack of vault space has really kind of dampened that. I also think that maybe this problem could be solved with the crafting system that's coming up. Like the sense of it I get is that maybe most, if not all, future weapons might kind of work under this crafting system because they pitched it as a way to save vault space, and like crafting would be an answer to our problems with vault space rather than increasing vault space. And the implication to me there implies that like you could have one model of a weapon and you like unlock different pieces of it. So like, maybe on your Seraph Carbine or whatever, you unlock Fourth Time in Rampage, and like those are pieces of it you've unlocked, and like you unlock Extended Mag, and like that's unlocked. And so you go to the crafting station or your vault or whatever now, and then you can move the pieces around and be like, okay, well actually I want Vorpal for this activity to be better against champion shields, and you can switch it. And unlocking all these things, they've said it's going to be some sort of combat-based grind, so maybe this is somewhat similar to the old like Motes of Light system where, the more you use a weapon, the more you level it up with items and stuff, the more potential it unlocks. But unlike those just being kind of like fixed rolls and like just unlocking the one set of perks that was on the weapon, maybe this time around we are unlocking kind of multiple perks per weapon in a way that we haven't really seen in the game before. And this could be an answer to what I'm talking about. And I would love to see, me really, I contingency plan. That's like the new fun rapid fire thing that you get from Banshee, but like trying to get one is a freaking nightmare because like it's a world drop with no focusing. So all you can really do is turn in a million things to Banshee or just get lucky. But say contingency plan is part of the crafting system now, and instead of just hoping for the random drops, I can get one and then grind and grind and grind to unlock the exact roll I want on that weapon, or multiple options for different perks or things like that. That to me sounds like kind of engaging, fun, long-term grind. I'm just guessing, but the problem is like the game doesn't have anything like that now. So the current system of just RNG farming, for what you want to get, I think maybe that's something Bungie recognizes as bad, which is why this crafting system exists in the first place. I may be overstating what it's going to do and what it's capable of, and maybe there will still be plenty of random roll grinds, but to me, this does kind of solve some of the problems that we run into with the weapon grind, especially. The armor grind, I don't really even know what to start. Like, there is no armor grind, not really. Like, now that there's not sunsetting, it's pretty much just get one good set of each element and masterwork it, and maybe you have to get another set in a year or so when they change the mod slots around a bit. Although I don't even know if you have to do that anymore, but that's a whole other thing, and I think armor is going to need some future work down the road. But right now, it's not really, like, I'm okay with the armor mod situation right now. It's just not really a needed part of the grind. So this leads me back to, like, I don't really find myself with a lot of stuff to work for. I guess some people might be satisfied with titles here. People gilding Conqueror, or people gilding Trechen, or whatever. To me, that seems like more of an obligation. That's like something that's fun to chase. Like, it just isn't fun to grind out like 50 Gambit wins so I can guild Drengen again like this season, or to run a slate of GMs that is arguably the worst slate of GMs they've ever had in the game. Like, that doesn't sound very enjoyable to me, just for a title or just for materials I don't need or rolls of guns that are frankly not that great, if I'm being honest, outside of a few exceptions. And there's not really a way to long term invest in my character. Like, the more I play, all I'm doing is getting more random rolls of guns, and I'm adding temporary light to my character because all of the XP you get that converts into power is temporary and just goes away at the end of the season. So you can get to plus 15, plus 20, plus 40 power, and it just poof evaporates at the end of the season, and you have done no real service to your character in terms of leveling. So that is not a good system to me, and this kind of it's contrary to almost every game in this genre has some sort of Paragon system. Like, the original Paragon system is from Diablo, where the more you grind across all your characters, you get kind of minor stat boosts. Avengers recently introduced something that is pretty much exactly that for long-term grinding past the level cap. The Division had it to a certain extent. Pretty much, well, I don't know if Anthem lived long enough to have it, but most games have something like that in place, or they have something like just really, really long, like, master grind. So, like, one thing about New World is I put 150 hours into that game, and I think I took one thing to 200, like one ability, like animal skinning, and that has, smithing and crafting and mining and tree cutting and armoring and 20 skill points for every type of weapon to level up. And, like, it has all of these really, really long-term grinds where you just can't really run out of stuff to do in terms of adding total power and utility to your character. And that is not something Destiny has. I'm not saying I know the exact solution for that in Destiny. This is complicated by PvP, so if you had some sort of Paragon system, that would probably have to be disabled completely in PvP. You might have to rebalance PvE encounters around it if you had stuff like that, but I guess I just feel like there's no real long-term investment in my character where, like, some sort of passive grind that if I come back to Destiny now in a month where there's nothing else to do, at least I'm making progress in X, Y, or Z category. It doesn't feel like that to me outside of maybe I'll get a random roll I want, or maybe I'll complete a title. One example I always use is I thought a long-term uncapped transmog grind is a great idea for moments like this where I have literally hundreds of pieces of transmog armor that will never be transmogged. I can never add them to my collection because you will never catch up with the free stuff they give you, because they add, you get 2 free sets a season, but they add at least 2 new sets a season anyway, so you'll never catch up. If you want to pay, it's like $2 or $3 grand. I think I did the math once. It's absurd. As much as I love transmog, I have never once bought transmog because I'm morally opposed to it. But that, to me, if I have 300 items to grind out for transmog, I can't remember if that's per class or total, but either way, it's a lot. So, like, I could be taking transmog bounties now and building up my collection of transmog. And people were like, oh, well, you'll never use all those looks. It's like, yeah, but who cares? Like, that would at least be that. In that sense, I'm not gaining power, so there's no complications there, but I would be gaining a giant collection of fashion looks and cool armor and stuff, where otherwise it's just going to sit there doing nothing and I am not engaged with the game. So to me, this is where the transmog cap hurts more than it helps, even on a business side, because I know they want people to buy transmog, but if you uncapped it, I think you could up engagement for a certain percentage of the player base, like me. So these are kind of just the reasons I'm not playing Destiny right now. I just don't find kind of the passive time when there's nothing new going on to kind of be worth my time. Again, it's just nice to take breaks and play other games, but I also think Destiny does kind of have a core problem of not really offering substantive, permanent, long-term grinds that can kind of just be done wherever. Transmog was like a step in that direction, but because of the cap, I finished my cap transmog stuff in the first couple weeks of the season, if that. And the random roll weapon grind is being killed by vault space, and the entire concept might just be might be getting killed by weapon crafting in the first place. So I don't know how much I want to go out of my way to grind over the next 4 months for weapons where, Weapons 3.0 might be around a corner, and everything is a lot less useful then. Even if sunsetting is not necessarily a thing, it could still get kind of overwritten. So those are just kind of my thoughts on the current state of things. We have another full month to go. I don't know what's going to happen in my coverage. I've just sort of been in like speculative territory lately with my articles and my column, which is like, here's things Destiny should unsunset, because like there's not really anything to talk about actively other than like they screwed up Trials matchmaking again, like surprise, or Telesto broke something. That's kind of it. So it's been tough, and I'm switching to other games for the next couple of at least 2 months here. I don't expect any surprises. As I said before, I don't think they're going to spring some crazy thing on us in the middle of this downtime. I think they need the downtime to be working on Witch Queen, and we need it to play other games for a change. If you're still playing Destiny, that's great. If you find something to do, clearly there's still people playing it every day. I'm just kind of speaking for myself and why I found it a little hard to go back to, not just because of other games, but because I think it's lacking some kind of longer term motivations outside of keeping up with the seasonal story content. Anyway, those are my thoughts. I'm going to go crash into some trees, which is what I'm usually doing in Forza. But thanks for watching, and I will talk to you guys soon. Take care.